I think a funeral director's role is important because that's the first point of contact. It's usually very soon after the person has passed away, so their state of mind is they would have so many mixed emotions going through, and I believe the funeral directors just have that experience and knowledge to sit down, meet, calm the situation and go through all their services for that person. I've been sat in on a couple of meetings with families, and it is very emotional and it's very hard, but I just think they do a wonderful job. I take my hat off to them. I think it's just so important to make the families feel comfortable and be able to think through what they need in the shortest amount of time without dragging it on too long for them. Because when people are upset, you know what it's like, you can't think straight, you really have to regroup and breathe, and I think that's where these guys come in. They've got the experience of just dealing with the families very well.
I suppose to some degree that the funeral director is the point of reference. It's a starting point. Mum or dad dies, what do I do? How do we do this? What do we have to do? A lot of questions. And so the funeral director, I suppose, is that point of reference where they can come and they can ask questions, no matter how insignificant or silly they might appear to be to themselves. The questions are still valid. And so it's a reference point, a starting point, a place where someone can come and they can feel safe. They can feel I can have confidence in this person because they have done this before. They know their task.
In our case, we knew what we wanted, so they were there as absolute support and rocks, and did their damnedest. Like, you know, Peter arrived in the morning with a big, beautiful hearse, and it was grey, and they brought him in, took the lid off, and Peter, and then they left. They said, "You don't want us, do you?" I said, "No, this is us. We don't need you. If we do need you, we can call you," but we didn't, and they were perfectly happy with that. I was surprised that they didn't have to be there at all for the entire day, and so they were there as being wonderfully supportive, and they've been supportive right through to now.
I think that a funeral director or a funeral professional takes the lead role absolutely in his community or her community. I think the ability to say to a family, a funeral service is not these days so much about what we've seen in the past with very traditional services. I think that it really does come back to having open flexibility and discussions about what people want. I think that if I walked up to you in the street and said, "I'm going to throw you a party, this is the last party I'll have an opportunity to give to you," and a party is a poor description, I guess, but "I'm going to throw you a celebration, this is the last opportunity I'm going to have to throw you a celebration, what can I do for you?" The first response everybody has, and we see it in our prepaid funeral discussions all the time, don't go to any trouble, make it as simple as possible. I think that a lot of times people take that, particularly the kids and things like that of families, go, "Well, Mum said something simple, so it's just a direct cremation." When you sit down and talk to the family further about what they would really like, it's very different quite often than having a cremation without any attendance. And I think that as a funeral professional, it's our role to extrapolate out their wants and needs and actually talk to them about the different options that we have, rather than just saying, you know, people walk in and we want something simple, "Oh, you must want just a private cremation, do you?" It's about saying, you know, we can have a private cremation, or these are the options that we have. Have you got family travelling distances? Do you think anyone would like to speak? Even just to sit in a room and look at photographs and go through old memories. A funeral service these days can be so open and flexible, and I think that the campaign that the AFDA have set up is exactly that perfect step in to talk about those things. So it is just that opportunity to have that discussion. So